Alright, the Green Meanie. This is a fly that I have been meaning to tie for quite a while now. The materials have been sitting on my desk. This is a piece of synthetic plant that I picked up out of waste at work. So it's got a plastic core similar to some of the flies I've tied before. This type of material, and then there's some fiber that sprigs out from that. I'm going to tie it on a fairly large hook. This is 3/0, I believe, and I'm using some 30-pound braid that I've spooled up on one of my bobbins over here to be able to attach it firmly to the shank of the hook. So I'm gonna get some base wraps in, and then this is probably going to get reinforced here with some super glue just to really solidify that. I don't want the main piece here to shift and swing round onto the underside of the hook. So bear with me. It's the first time going back in and adding the audio after I have made the fly, just because it's really hard these days to not have some YouTube Kids content being blasted in the background, which was the case when I was tying this. So shouldn't take much here with this 30-pound braid. You can really crank on it to secure the material onto the shank here. So gotta manipulate it a little bit to make sure that it's even the way that it sits, and add a whip finish just to hold it in place until you get the adhesive applied. Now, I've never tied something this large. The total length on this is getting up to in between 8 and 9 inches, and it is not very heavy at all, which I really like. I think it's going to be quite castable, but as far as what is going to go after this, I have no idea, and I need to do some field testing. But I was listening to the Cut and Retie podcast this week, and Joe Cermelli, the host of the show, was talking about the fact that it doesn't really matter what you tie, you need to show some results, and I am lacking in that area on my social medias as far as posting the fish that get caught. I'm not a big grip and grinner, but it's no excuse. I'm usually more concerned with getting them back in a timely manner, but that sounds like more of an excuse than anything else. So gotta get the eyeballs centered. I'm going to build up a mane around the top here with some more feathers. So I want to make sure that I can get the eyeballs positioned a little bit further back to give me some space to build up that mass. But this dumbbell style of eyeball, I think, is probably my favorite, just to be able to secure with some X-wraps, and then also adding in a little bit of adhesive just to really make sure that it's solidified there on top. And then we're not going to have any eyeball shift during casting once it starts to get saturated with water. And just got some olive marabou here, some random, they're not all even whatsoever, but I figure all of this, once it gets into the water, is going to just lay back onto the body of the fly, and it'll even out. So I'm not worried too much about the placement. I just want to generally get the mass built up. Whether I'm going for a baitfish or some kind of reptilian creature, I'm really not sure. This is the first one of its kind that I've ever tied, which is my preferred means of production. I don't always like to make the same thing. It just seems to get boring after a while, so why not create something that we haven't seen before? It really reminds me of the dragon from the Never-Ending Story. I don't know, you might see some other kind of creature from lore. Also, maybe some of the early, I don't know if they were depictions of dinosaurs that you have from the Middle Ages. Not dinosaurs, reptilian creatures that were either being documented or fantasized about, and then put into early publications or early prints. So once I can get a little bit more mass built up here, I think we're going to be just about all set. I, as always, will take some photos that capture the likeness of this green meanie creature here, and post it on my Instagram, which is at bhi.flies. But I'm really digging the character that this is starting to take on. So just build a little bit more mass up at the nose, and I think we're just about there. This might have been a little bit of a too large of a feather to tie at this part, but I think we can use the extra mass here. Wow, yeah. That was a little bit too much, but at this point I'm going to have to do a little trimming up here at the front section, just to hack some of that back. I used such a large hook though that I don't think it's going to be any problem getting the line laced through the eye of the hook, even though you can't see it now through all of Marabou. It's still readily accessible. So whip finish. I'm also going to need to hit the front of this thing with a lighter just to stop all of the synthetic fibers and also the plastic core. I feel like I can just melt the end of that and mash it in, and then you end up with a really blunt end on the front of that fly. So if it does get rammed into rocks or sticks or anything, we got a blunt nose that can handle that impact. So here we are. If you want to see the finished pictures, I will post them up on my account. And until the next crazy creature fly that I can come up with, I leave you with the world's first green meanie. Thanks for watching.